This morning, as I was getting ready to come over to work, I looked down in the closet and there was Jack, my 1-year-old. And he had taken the shoe trees, the things that go inside of your nice shoes to keep them from getting all wrinkled and stretched out. I had a set of IKEA shoe trees because I'm cheap, and they were inside of my black dress shoes that I really only wear for church and funerals. Jack had taken them out and was playing with them. And there really wasn't a big deal except for the fact that I'm getting a lot of use out of my black shoes lately. And they're kind of getting wrinkled. And I was like, Jack, those kind of belong in there, buddy. And I couldn't help but realize that my own flesh and blood was betraying me. In a very small way. I mean, he's a 1-year-old. That's not like I actually fault him for this thing, but I still was kind of frustrated. And then I thought about it. Boy, our own flesh and blood betrays us all the time, doesn't it? It's Wednesday of Holy Week. And on today, some good friends of ours, members of our preschool, are headed up to Spokane for cancer treatments. Members of our congregation are going through all sorts of life-threatening issues, ongoing chronic ailments, hurts and pains in their own households and families. We live in a world where our own flesh and blood betrays us. And today, Wednesday of Holy Week, we don't really know what Jesus did, but we know what Judas did. And I'd like to read that for you. From Matthew chapter 26, verses 1 through, 16. It said, when Jesus finished all these sayings, he said to his disciples, "You know that after 2 days the Passover is coming, and the Son of Man will be delivered up to be crucified." And then the chief priests and the elders of the people gathered in the palace of the high priest, whose name was Caiaphas, and plotted together in order to betray Jesus by stealth and kill him. But they said, "Not during the feast, lest there be an uproar among the people." Now when Jesus was at Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, a woman came up to him with an alabaster flask of very expensive ointment, and she poured it on his head as he reclined at the table. And when the disciples saw it, they were indignant, saying, "Why this waste? For this could have been sold for a large sum and given to the poor." But Jesus, aware of this, said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? For she has done a beautiful thing to me. For you always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. In pouring this ointment on my body, she has done it to prepare me for burial. Truly I say to you, wherever this gospel is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." Then one of the 12, whose name was Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What will you give me if I deliver him over to you?" And they paid him 30 pieces of silver. And from that moment, he sought an opportunity to betray him. Jesus had invested years into the life of Judas, and in one moment, Judas betrays him. Before we go to the cross of Good Friday, we must ask the question, how have we betrayed ourselves? How have we betrayed those closest to us? And how do we confess those things? And then we must realize this. Our God knowingly took these things upon himself and did a beautiful thing. His gospel lives, and so will you. I hope to see you very soon, church.